Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for EVI Women in STEM seminar series. Our guest speaker today is Kulika Weizman, who is a successful entrepreneur that co-founded Sugar Logics and has now continued her career as a venture capital investor. Hello, Kulika. Thank you so much for meeting with us.
Hello, good to be here. Thank you.
Of course. So first, I just want to start out with tell us a little bit about yourself and what led you to, I guess, in a holistic way, your current self.
Yeah, of course. Kulika Weizman, principal at Creative Ventures. Um, I have a dear history with EVI. So my background is in microbiology. I got my PhD from UC Berkeley. I was part of Jamie Cate's lab that was also in the EVI. I think it was back in I graduated 2016, spin off my PhD work, ran that at my previous company for a couple years, and then switched over to Creative Ventures. And what I do now, what Creative Venture does is investing in early stage deep tech companies, primarily focusing on market first approach. So things that are already problems today inevitably will be getting worse over time. So things in climate change, rising healthcare costs, and labor shortages are all three key main focuses. Um, yeah, glad to be here.
Where do you feel you had your start in academia, I guess you could say?
hmm Um, I'm originally from Thailand. I'm born and raised. I moved to the US for my undergrad at Penn. And there I did my dual degree in chemical and biomolecular engineering and economics. Always been interested in both sides, and in the back of my mind, I always felt like, oh, like it would be really great to know the technical aspect really well in order to be able to apply that in the real world application. That was my thinking going into college. Decided after college that I really want to know the technical aspect even more in depth, and that's when I moved over to Cal for a PhD.
Perfect. And you are a venture capital investor. What does that work specifically entail?
Yeah, so venture capital as a whole, um, maybe not as specific to creative, we back early stage companies, right? And that can range between really, really early, when the company only has an idea, to later stage, maybe like when they're trying to expand their market. Where creative sits in is usually at a series seed. So when the company raised between $3 to $5 million is our sweet spot. Um, Day to day is a combination of looking for more companies to invest in. Active funds will be actively investing in companies, doing diligence in deals that are interesting. We might invest in, dig a little deeper into those. And once that passed through the pipeline, terms negotiation, right? So that's one aspect of investing. So looking for companies to invest in. Another aspect is managing the investments that you've already done. So, like calling that portfolio company support. And I think it depends on the kind of investors you are and your model. You can be as hands on. I've heard people, and we've done this to some of our companies, helping them write grants, to investors who are completely hands off and just getting updates from companies once a year, probably more often. Um, so deal sourcing, portfolio support, and the last piece, which I think it depends on the firms again, but that's the third piece that I do quite consistently at Creative is investment research. So we always want to front run and understand what kind of markets, what kind of problems are interesting to go search for the companies to invest in. So we try to understand the market, we try to understand existing technologies, so we can reverse engineer it and go look for companies to address those.
Perfect. And what was the process like for you personally to take your science and economics background and pivot to VC work?
Um, it was relatively natural for me. So as I mentioned, I was a founder, so I was running my spin-off company after my PhD. So I was already pretty exposed to the startup, to the VC ecosystem, but on the other side of the table, um, I met Creative and actually actively seeked out to meet them uh, because I really like the thesis, I like the approach. So the switch for me isn't so much of the people I work with, but more in terms of the mentality. So instead of focusing on, one particular company that you go to bed thinking about, you wake up thinking about, to more of a diverse portfolio companies approach. So you want to make sure the overall return profile makes sense. So maybe the company that is in the most trouble, they usually take the most of your bandwidth, may not be the best spot to spend your time. So yeah, that's the biggest switch for me.
Being a minority in the startup, venture capital, and STEM industry can be extremely difficult. But despite this, there are extremely talented people, including yourself, looking to impact the world in their own personal lines of work. Why did you choose this particular line of work?
I liked it. I always liked tech, STEM, space, and I think I'm very privileged that I get to do what I want. I don't think it's, like it's not like it's easy or difficult. I think it would be difficult to do something that would generally be considered easy, but you hate, right? So yeah, and frankly, I think I'm always surrounded by really talented, all kind of diverse people within STEMs and VCs. And yeah, I think it is moving in the right direction. And yeah, it's hopefully that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Yeah, and in terms of how it is to join a venture capital firm. What is like the process? Because I know as a college student, it's very pushed for us to right off the bat sort of know what field we want to go into, like freshman, first semester, and then go into getting an internship and having the same internship for our 4 years and then going in a very linear path, I guess you would say. I know that your path wasn't quite linear because you were in so many sectors, but what would you say is for a college student that is interested in VC work, what would the process be like?
Well, there's some assumptions there that I don't fully agree with, but maybe a straight answer is first. Internship is a great way to get into VCs. For college students, I would say usually you do some kind of internships. Hopefully, the chemistry, the value added work you provide for the firm for the summer is convincing enough for them to give you an offer as an analyst. For example, usually college students join as analysts or in rare case associate. Um, College track tends to not be a partner track within the VC firm. And what I mean by that is usually within VC, there are different tiers of position. So you start off as analyst, you move up to associate, um, principal or vice president, and then partner or general partner. Within these tiers, the bottom two usually the firms expect you to work for them for a couple years and then move on to do something else, either go do MBAs or join an industry. So for college students, that's probably the most straightforward path. Um, Now for MBAs or PhDs, hopefully with some kind of industry experience, I joined as either associate or principal. And some of them are not partner tracks either. um, it depends on the firm, but those are typically a different bucket, right? And what, from the firm's perspective, analyst and associate are there to help do everything. And that could be from sourcing, diligence, um, research, whatever needs to be done. So that's a help. For MBA's PhD industry track person who joined later on in their career, the purpose is usually to expand the type of investments the firms do. So the question they ask is, would we be able to invest in the same companies without those people? So things that they would not have done otherwise. Um, so that's the answer. Going back, what for what you were saying about the linear path, right? I am a strong believer in trying things out. And what I mean by that is, and actually, since I'm originally from Thailand, the college system is very different, and I think the U.S. actually, like, you do have to choose a major, but you have so many things you could try out during 4 years, 4 years of college. So I would highly encourage, everyone trying that out. That is a time in your life to try things out. Uh, so I would think about it a little less as a linear path and more so of, say, and even within VC, there's certain different industries, different VCs invest in. Is it AI? Is it cybersecurity, construction, whatever? I'll try. Yeah, if I would give the advice to college students, I would maybe try one summer of internship in VC. The others in the specific industry that you interested in investing in, so you get some industry operational experience.
Perfect. And now getting more personal, what would be one piece of guidance and or insight you would give to your younger self or future young people, especially young women that are looking into go into the many industries that you have put your foot into?
Yeah, get comfortable saying no's. I think the very group that you mentioned, including myself, guilty, uh, tend to say yes a little too much. Um, yeah, like, you have limited time. Um, you want to make sure you spend your, not just time, but mental energy to do the things that will give you the highest return. That might sound like a very easy answer, but that is true, right? For everyone, even outside of Korea or your schedule for classes, when are you going to study, blah blah blah, that is always the case. And maybe I'm cheating and adding one more, is being your strongest advocate. And what I mean by that is, if you don't put yourself out there, if you don't ask for things that you want, if you don't go after things that you want to do, it's not just going to magically show up, right? And it feels uncomfortable at times, and it should feel uncomfortable, and that's how you grow. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, first, thank you so much for such a great conversation. It is honestly truly admirable to see a woman have so much passion for the environment and has accomplished so much in different sectors. I, alongside EBI, would like to thank you for your time and your wisdom and sharing that with us. We look forward to see what comes from you, and we wish you the best of luck in all your future endeavors.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you all for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe, as well as click the bell to be notified for our next interview. Our socials are linked here as well as on our website. If you're interested in climate change, renewable energy, biosciences, and all that comes with that, and also looking to see what career path you would like to take if you're interested in that, we highly recommend checking our socials and website out.